Hi, everyone. My name is Lori Hendren. I am the Associate State Director for AARP Illinois, and I want to welcome you today. We are in a live discussion with talking about how to reduce stress during the holidays. I know I have it, and I bet a lot of viewers that are with us today have it. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization, and we have been working to protect the health and the well-being of Americans 50 plus for over 60 years. Now, for most of us, the holidays are going to just be difficult this year. For many family caregivers, there are extra challenges as we struggle to make the season feel special and bright for loved ones who may be isolated and also grieving the loss of our usual traditions. I know ours is the same way. But in recent survey of caregivers by cares.com, 85% of respondents named the holidays as a primary time of the year when their family continues to be together with older loved ones. More than 2 in 5 say they will not be able to see their care recipients in person this holiday season. Many care recipients feel depressed or even abandoned or have difficulty understanding the challenges due to connective issue. This, to me, breaks my heart. AARP research found the impact of COVID-19 on one's mental health with ties directly to stress of caregiving, and this is important to our caregiving conversation today. So bear with me. I'm going to pull this chart up so everybody can see this. Look at the numbers. They're powerful, right? What we're seeing right here is the impact is caregivers negative at 44%, care recipients are negative at 46%, but there's a highlight. We see some positive at 27% are caregivers and care recipients are 26%. What that tells me is that there's a lot of good out there and there's a lot of positive energy. And this event we're doing right here with these remarkable ladies that I have the pleasure of introducing here just in minutes are going to be the key. And their resources, their professional knowledge, and just common sense, down to earth, let's get real information is gonna make it easy. So I thank you for that. So that takes us to make it even more important for us to make this holidays full of meeting and connection as soon as possible for our loved ones, but with the limits of safety precautions. The good news, there's no need to cancel the holidays this year just to make them unique. There are a lot of ways to help ensure 2020 holidays still bring comfort and joy. And today, we are honored to have 2 best-selling authors on caregiving and medical experts. Let me just say that again. Never in my life have I been able to say that. 2 best-selling book authors and medical experts that are joining us today. It is Wendy K, Benson MBA, OTR/L. I gotta be honest, I really don't understand the acronym, but please explain it to me. But I know it's pretty remarkable. And then we have Elizabeth, and Elizabeth, if it's okay, I would like to call you Beth, if that's okay with you. Yeah. And she is a BSN and an RN. She is joining us live today, and you're seeing us all on Facebook, and you're seeing us also on YouTube. So we thank you for that. And then here's the deal. Our special guests will help guide and navigate all of us on how to juggle life, family, work, caregiving during the most magical time of the year, the holidays, and offer viewers compassionate strategies on how to care for yourself at this time too. And that is so very important. So now I'm going to get to the people that you all came here to see and talk, and I will be quiet. First, I'm going to be pleased to introduce Wendy, if I can call you that. Benson, Wendy, talk to me a little bit about your background, and please offer 3 key tips to caring for ourselves this holiday season.
Thank you so much for having us, Lori. We are just so pleased to be here. You know, the acronyms that you referenced, OTR/L stands for Occupational Therapist, Registered and Licensed. And that's my clinical background. And I had the amazing opportunity to work with so many different patients and their family members at all different times during the year, well before COVID. And I think that as we think about what makes things stressful during an ordinary holiday season is good things and frustrating things. We're often trying to do a lot of activities in a pretty short period of time. We also kind of put some pressure on ourselves, even under normal circumstances, to have this ideal time, to try to have time to do every single thing. And this year, things are just so incredibly different. And I think that things that we need to focus on, particularly this year, are 3 strategies. Number 1, we have to give ourselves a break. We have to give ourselves permission to understand how different things are this year. As caregivers, as people who are receiving the care, there's just so many more added elements of frustration, confusion, isolation. We really do have to take a deep breath, recognize what we bring to the table, value what we ourselves are doing for one another right here and right now. The second thing we need to do is get rid of all the extra stuff. We probably needed to do that before, but if there's anything that this has taught us now, is that sometimes urgent things aren't important. We need to focus on the things that are important and really prioritize those things. There's a lot of things that many of us were doing before that we probably don't need to do at all, but especially during this holiday season. I think it's really important that we take time for ourselves to understand that we're doing the best we can and really focus on the things that are important, not necessarily just the things that are urgent. The other thing that I think that we need to focus on as caregivers and people who are receiving the care is that there are different things that are important to each of us. Some people gain energy and feel motivated and feel fulfilled if they have an engaging video conversation with some people. Some people, that sounds like the last thing they want to do. So I think it's important that we ourselves look within what's motivating to us, what matters to us. If it's more fulfilling for me to take time to schedule a walk by myself outside, that's what I need to do. If it's more important for me to get immersed in a magazine article or a book, that's what I need to do. So I think really focusing on what makes you feel fulfilled and focusing on that for at least a small portion of the day and to schedule that into your calendar.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful. Thank you. And next, we are pleased to have Beth with us. Beth, you are a BSN and as an RN, so you are definitely a medical expert, and we thank you for coming. Speak a little bit about your background in caregiving and medical care, especially for caregivers. And if you wouldn't mind, discuss from your medical perspective how stress can impact the physical and the emotional stress of family caregivers.
Sure. So thanks for having us, Lori. And Wendy, listening to you, this is why we're partners, because I would have answered those questions the exact same way. So Lori, a little bit about myself. I was a nurse at a large academic medical center in Chicago for over 15 years and just realized that there was a gap in care. And I left my position and started a company over 5 years ago called 2x2 Health. And that company was built to help people navigate through the healthcare system. So you get maybe a diagnosis of something and you don't know where to go or what to do, questions to ask, physicians to see. You would call us and we go with you. We do our research, we go with you, we ask those questions and help people navigate the system. So that's a little bit about my background. Wendy joined me a year after I started, so it's been interesting to see the two backgrounds. I definitely believe in a multidisciplinary approach in healthcare, meaning there's different disciplines, occupational therapy, physical therapy, nursing, physicians, pharmacy. There's a whole slew of people, a team, and I believe that is what we need to have good healthcare. So we connected 4 years ago, and as you can see, 2020 has just really been a completely different thing for us, for everyone else. So the question was stress and healthcare and what it can do. It's very, very important for caregivers to be taking care of themselves. It's kind of like on the airplane, you have to put on your oxygen mask before you put it on your child. I always say that because it is so important. You can't help anyone else if you can't take care of yourself. So, if you're at higher risk for high blood pressure, if you have high blood pressure, that means you're at higher risk for a stroke or an MI, a heart attack. You're also at risk for getting another disease because you're immunosuppressed. You're not sleeping. You're not taking care of yourself. So it's very important that caregivers take care of themselves as well as those that need care.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you both, Beth and Wendy, for that. So I just want to remind everyone who are joining us, we are here to listen and to talk with you. So we are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Write your comments, write your questions. We have a section, and our authors have dedicated their time to try to get to those as best we can. So know that your posts are there. We're going to do everything we can to get to those. But right now, I'm ready. Let's get to these questions. I'm going to mute one of you just for the background noise. But when you want to talk, I'll unmute you. It's technology. What can we do? I chalk it all up to 2020. What can we do? So we know 3/4 of those surveyed by AARP, which is about 76%, believe there is at least some risk of COVID-19 exposure if they visit others. I mean, the concern is high. It is to the point it's palpable, right? With about 8 in 10 worried about exposure for themselves or their loved ones. And this is a question I'm going to say to Beth or to Wendy, both of you. What is the trick this year to balancing family members' desires and the traditions and the need to help and see loved ones with this deadly threat of the COVID virus? I'll let either one of you take over on that one.
Well, Lori, I'll just step in quickly. I mean, I think that we need to have these conversations really early, and no one was prepared for this a year ago, right? So I think that what we need to say is be prepared to have the conversation and say, listen, this is something that's really important to me. This year is so different. I think that there are some people who are concerned that if they make a big change this year, it's going to impact a tradition forever going forward. And that is definitely not the hope. Or what I think we need to do is have an honest conversation about, I really want to talk to you about the holidays this year. This year is so different. We want to make sure that everyone is being safe. We want to make sure that we're preserving traditions, but maybe in a different way this year. It might just need to look differently this year. So I think that those that are doing things on a video chat, there are ways that we can do that in a way that's really helpful. Practicing ahead of time to make sure people are familiar with the technology, maybe breaking it up so that there are individual sessions instead of a big grid, which can be really intimidating. And really think about maybe engaging questions to talk about, even if it's just a telephone call, not, hi, how are you? Maybe some really thought-provoking questions. Those are things that my children and my in-laws that we've been practicing, thinking about different ways of talking about memories and sharing information, because sometimes when people say, how are you? It's a really difficult question to answer that in a way that's meaningful and encouraging this year.
Wonderful. Here's another one. And Beth, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you this one. Is listeners a compassionate and honest and yet really straightforward strategy they can talk with their loved ones about their concerns and health worries if they do attend the holiday gatherings or if they don't? And I say this from your medical background, right? Because I'll be honest, you turn on the 5 o'clock news, the 24-hour news, everything is COVID, and we're getting educated, but I think there's fatigue. And without getting into too much details, when you choose to be with your family and you want to be with them, how does this virus move forward, right? I've heard I'm sitting at a table and I'm not 6 feet apart, but if I am asymptomatic, can that travel, 15 feet? And how, just like the real basics of it, just to have an understanding, because I think that's important when grandparents talk with them, to be able to have that understanding and say, listen, guys, I understand how it works. Is that something you can address?
Yeah, I think, the scariest thing about this disease, there's a lot of scary things, is that you don't know who has it. And you are giving it to somebody before you feel sick. And so you feel fine, you're going to Thanksgiving. The time that you're going to give it to someone is 2 to 3 days before you start seeing symptoms yourself.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you go to Thanksgiving and you feel fine and grandma and grandpa are there and they're at higher risk for getting something like this, you're going to be giving it to them and you're going to feel horrible afterwards. Now, some people are getting this and, the mortality rate has gone down, which is great. And I'm happy to hear that. But still, you have no idea how you are going to react when you get this. And there's more and more information coming out about the side effects afterwards, long down the road and how people are recovering. And we just don't know how everyone is going to be after they recover and how long it will take them to fully recover. So, I have to say, I completely agree that the recommendation right now is do not get together in a small indoor facility with loved ones. Maybe go and drive to grandma and grandpa's house or mom and dad's and stand outside for 15 minutes and just talk. But to go into a house in Illinois, it's tough. If we were in the southern states, I'd say if we were outside, maybe, I would feel more comfortable with it. But we canceled our Thanksgiving, and I hope others do too. I know it's sad, but I'd rather, I keep seeing signs, I'd rather have a Zoom Thanksgiving than an ICU Christmas. And that is completely true. Because that's when you're going to start seeing these effects in 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, that's true. That's wonderful. Thank you. And and my volunteers, when I talk to them about it, one of them, they're like, Lori, you can't just say don't go. People are going to go, and I go, I understand, I do, but the health and safety. But I very much feel like I'm being mean, insensitive. But as always, the health and safety comes first. And I want you to be, if you're here at Thanksgiving, I want you to be at Christmas, and I want you to be here at Easter. So that is wonderful. Thank you for that. So let's go to our next question. And then also, as we go along, I just want to make note, we're trying, Beth and Wendy's team is fantastic. They are also typing up the comments you guys are saying, and it's on our feeds. Okay, so you guys can be able to see that as well. You just got a great one. This is so true. We are doing Thanksgiving and Christmas on Zoom or FaceTime. So thank you, Facebook viewer. We're loving you. Thank you. Another one. I'm going to open this up, I think, maybe to Wendy, if you're okay with that one. Here we go. And a lot of these are repetitive. Why? Because they just circle around the idea of stress and how do we do it. And with every conversation, there just might be a nugget that's just like, that's that aha moment, guys. We got it. What is your advice for family members who are just struggling with the holiday stress and isolation right now? They haven't left. They're fearful to go to the grocery store. What's your advice?
So some of the things that I think would be helpful, and I've done this personally with my family, is maybe plan a time when you and your family are going to eat pizza and to have pizza delivered to your loved one and have a video chat while you're all having pizza together. And I have heard of lots of different ways where people are still connecting, but in a very different way. I've heard of families who do scavenger hunts, who have a game night. I know several people who have watched football games or movies together, but over a video chat. I think we just have to be really creative. And yes, it's not exactly the same as doing it in person, but it's a lot better than not connecting with each other. Mm-hmm. There are others who maybe their loved one is in a facility and they may have scheduled activities. So we always recommend for the family to reach out to make sure that they're not scheduling their Zoom calls when the other activities are happening. If they're doing, a sing-along or a special, game, we probably don't want to schedule that at the same time so that people are able to maximize when they're able to celebrate various activities that are just really important this year.
Yep. Wonderful. Oh, okay. Wonderful. So next one, I'm going to say this one is to Beth. Beth, I'm going to pull you up on this one. How can we keep a mental positive outlook with parents and loved ones when we're not able to visit them? Okay, so, and this is also from Wendy too. I'm going to open this up to you. Doing these games, hold on, for some reason, I can't unmute you. Can you unmute you? There you go, Wendy. Oh, I lost you, Andy.
I'm back.
I love all of this idea of let's connect, let's have these conversations. But my parents are 70s, and please don't hurt me, mom and dad, but when I say, hey, download Zoom and let's do this, they go, Zoom? What are you talking about? So, be able to do this so people are comfortable. And I can tell you, AARP, I'm really proud of us for doing technology classes and how to use FaceTime and other things. But can you give some advice for people to how to de-stress those conversations with loved ones about, okay, Zoom is okay to do it. You can even maybe do a movie watch and with the grandkids on there. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think that the most important thing is to walk through the process with someone before the event. Because in my personal experience, when we've had a time set up for a number of us to be on, if that's the first time we're doing it, there's almost always, even if someone is more familiar with technology than the next person, there's almost always a little glitch, something, maybe someone didn't download it in advance. So our recommendation is for our clients to have dry runs in advance, because if you're, looking forward to a meal together on video chat or a game, you don't want to be trying to do that when you're trying to have the event. So I think planning that in advance really does make a difference. And to your point, Lori, I have plenty of people in my family who are not video chatters. But we've visited in different ways. I mean, we've had more phone calls than we ever have because we haven't been able to see each other in person like we used to be able to do. So I think that setting it up in advance and even maybe talking through that person on the phone while you're looking at what they're looking at the same time can be helpful.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to both of you because I have some great videos I want to show to you guys. What are solutions for viewers that are with us today or who will be rewatching this? Because all viewers, you can rewatch it on Facebook, Illinois, and please share it. Share it to your friends and family before Thanksgiving too. What are solutions for viewers to prioritize themselves, especially family caregivers, to reduce that stress, not feel guilty for caring about their own body, their mind, their soul, and their health of them and their partners? What's the tips? Like, if you could give someone the tips that say X, Y, and Z, these are the resolutions. These are your I can't even think of the word, but the virtues, your go-to points, reassurances that these are okay. What's your guys' take on that?
So, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, where it's really important that you take care of yourself. And endorphins really help that. And the way you can get endorphins is by doing some kind of exercise. Even if it's just going outside to take a walk for 5 minutes and get some fresh air, clean your head, clean your brain. It's kind of like when, Wendy and I both have children, 15 years ago when I had my newborn and I wanted to pull my hair out and I just needed 5 minutes, I'd put him in his crib and walk away and, just get a little free time to myself. I think that's really important for caregivers to remember. They need to take care of themselves, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And also a lot of the times people feel bad, like they're going to hurt someone's feelings if they say, I don't want to come to Thanksgiving. That is okay. Do not feel bad that you want to take care of yourself, and use statements that begin with I. Don't blame it on anybody else. I feel comfortable coming, or I don't want to put you at risk.
Love it.
Yeah. So I would start with the I's when you talk to somebody. And script, write it down. So when you get there and you're like, what was I going to say again? It's all written down right there so you feel comfortable and it just rolls off your tongue.
I love that. I love the idea of I, so it doesn't feel personal to them. You're not offending them. You're not saying that, oh, well, I think you may have or you've been exposed. No, this is for I, and this is for the health and safety of myself, and making sure, we may not be doing something that could impact you, but it is. So now we are rolling, ladies. We are 24 minutes in. I could talk to you for hours, but I have been gifted by some of my most wonderful volunteers. I have to say, this is one of my greatest joys for working for AARP Illinois and our team, all the way up from Joanne Jenkins, our CEO, to our state director, Bob Gallo. But most importantly, we have volunteers who make everything happen, and they have questions. So what we're going to do, they've already pre-recorded them. I'm going to play them, and then we'll all be muted. And then when they're done, we're going to come back and answer them. Okay. So first, we're going to start from our AARP Illinois volunteer and member, Lynette Boland from Peoria. Here she goes.
Hi, my name is Lynette Boland, and I'm from Peoria, Illinois. And like all of us here in Illinois, we have been socially isolated for months now. It's hard to get out into the community to see your family and friends. And I have friends who have dealt with the COVID and are totally kind of in depression. And social isolation is not where they really need to be right now, but it's a must. So how can I support these people without being in their social circle? I do try to give phone calls. I send cards. I try to do things to make it a little easier for them. But I feel isolated sometimes also because I can't be there to really give myself to that person. So how can I help my friends who are socially isolated more so than myself without putting myself in harm's way?
Okay, I'm opening the floor to my experts. How do we give a response to our wonderful AARP volunteer and her question? I'll let Wendy start first, and Beth, why don't you go in and follow up?
Well, Lynette just phrased that absolutely perfectly in terms of what people are going through. She's being a supportive friend and support network, but it's really hard to know how to do that effectively right now. Absolutely. It sounds like she's doing a lot of really positive things, both that probably help herself as well as the person that she's helping in terms of frequent phone calls, notes. We have found that some people are getting a lot of joy from like leaving just small little gifts or that kind of thing at the person's home if it's somebody that lives close by to them. I do think that if there is a capability of being able to do either FaceTime, Zoom chat, Google Meets, a lot of these applications, they really do make a big difference. I mean, I do think that phone calls are wonderful. Text messages are great. But when you're able to see your loved one's face and smile and understand the context of the situation that they're describing, that can make a significant difference in the lives of not only the person who thinks they need the support, but usually both parties need support in that application.
Beth, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it breaks your heart. You hear these stories all the time on the news, but to like hear someone actually say that it's just heartbreaking. And I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I think you're doing everything right. The only thing that I could suggest would be maybe have a plan phone call so that person knows. And depending how long you feel you could go, if they're really depressed, maybe go I'm going to call you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So they have something to look forward to. And then maybe if you're starting to see them feeling better, maybe you can space it out a little more. Or if there's other people in that social network, maybe say, hey, so-and-so is having a really hard time. How about I call on Monday, you call on Tuesday, and have kind of, set something up. I also think it's great, though, to do it when nobody knows and it's spontaneous, because that always feels good, too, not as scheduled. So I could go either way, but you're doing a great job, and I'm really sorry that everyone's going through this.
Okay, our next question is from James Bradshaw from Pekin, Illinois, and here he is.
Hi, I'm James Bradshaw from Pekin, Illinois, and I'm an AARP state volunteer. I normally have about 17 to 19 members of my family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We've done this forever. How do I talk to my kids, my grandchildren, their spouses, my great-grandchildren, and tell them that I'm just not comfortable with that this year?
Okay, I'm going to open this first up to Beth and to Wendy.
Again, James, it breaks my heart. You are doing the right thing. And this is exactly when you say, I don't feel comfortable. I am not going to do this. And don't blame it on anyone else. You're doing exactly what you've been told. But this is deep down how you feel. And I think it speaks volumes that you are saying this. And I think people will honor it.
That's wonderful. Wendy.
I agree. I mean, I think having the conversation as soon as possible so that people are clear about the way that you feel, James, so that they know that this is something that is your priority, that it's about safety. And maybe they're already feeling that way, but nervous about sharing that with you and not wanting you to feel, like you're the one that needs to call the shot. So I think starting the conversation as soon as possible and being clear, saying, you're incredibly important to me. I want everyone to be safe. And this is really important to me. And this is for this year. Hopefully it's not for next year, but for right now, this is for this year.
I know. Thank you. Okay, guys, we have one more. And I will be honest, this is my dear David Lanier. He has a 3-parter, but we'll sync it all together because I know our time is coming together. So let's do this one. And here we go.
Hi, my name is David Lanier from Chicago, and I'm an AARP volunteer. The holidays can be an extremely stressful time. The COVID-19 virus has created many negative anxieties and is really hurting people's feelings when it comes to openly discussing safety. We see the signs of family caregivers stressing with our loved ones now regularly. I have a 3-part question. 1, what advice would you offer on how best to handle being around or not being around family members over the holidays? 2nd, how do you suggest talking through the safety issues of family gatherings? And lastly, what can be done without hurting people's feelings to help and not offend them, nor get potentially sick ourselves? Thank you.
Okay, I'll open this up to anyone. Go for it.
I mean, I think he knows what's important. It's really important to be safe, and it's really safer to not be together indoors. Like Beth mentioned earlier, if people live close enough together that they can do a drive-by visit or an outdoor visit, that would be far safer. I think that by having the honest and frank conversation about how important it is to you to be safe and that this is important for this year, I think it's really important to recognize that this should not offend anyone. This is about safety. This is about continuing to be a part of this vibrant, important family and support system that, and we need to be there for each other, even if it's in a very different way this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is wonderful. Well, this has been great. I know we've gone over, you guys have just been wonderful. And I think so many people have been able to communicate and talk with us. And so now I just want to say thank you to Wendy and Beth and to Katie, who's on the back end, who's been helping so much to make this possible, for your time and your insight and truly your compassion, to be able to help viewers, to be able, who will watch this, who will replay this, to how to talk compassionately and recognize it is an I, and to care and hopefully ease the stress, and for thousands of family caregivers this upcoming holiday season. And I thank you all AARP members and listeners for participating in today's very important and timely conversation. This has been informative, and I'm sorry if we're getting to the end of it and we didn't get your comments, but no, we have some information. So if you have registered for us, you were able to download a document that has a lot of these wonderful resources that are AARP. You have the biographies to our fantastic individuals joining us today. Also, a really comprehensive guide of resources for Illinois. But we're going to go through a little bit of this now. So for more information on AARP Illinois, go ahead and look at the AARP Illinois website. There's a lot of great information there. There's something called events, so you can look for more events coming up as well. And just to do a little promo, here is our next event coming up. So save the date, Monday, December 9th, and we're going to do a step-by-step guide to becoming a confident patient advocate in the new world. So know that is forthcoming as well. And then let's keep going on. we have an AARP support line. Agents are available to take your calls Monday through Friday, 7 to 11 Eastern time, and the number is listed there. For those who are Spanish speaking, we also have the information listed there as well. Please write down those numbers. Next is check out our caregiving assistant organizations. It's the AARP Community Connections at the link below. That is just fantastic. Again, there's a picture. Everything's listed in the downloaded packet that we can give to you here shortly. And here it is. That's at AARP Illinois Caregiving Resources. Fantastic information. And also will be available in Spanish. Another resource packet that we have here, and it would be remiss that all the things that we do, our volunteers that spoke with us today, that worked over the weekend to help prepare that, our events that we do, and then on a brag, I have to say that these AARP Illinois members continually just blow me away by their depth of love and compassion. We are right now at a point of sending over 1,100 cards to nursing home residents across the state from AARP Illinois volunteers, just to show that they are not alone. They are being thought of, and we are there for them. So I just kudos to them, to power and just the energy, and to knowing that no holiday season, no one should be alone. So this comes to the end of it. I just want to open it up to our guests. Is there anything you guys would like to say on closing as we come to the end about anything right now? Beth or Wendy, go ahead.
You guys are doing a great job, and it really, again, speaks volumes. You guys taking care of everyone and knowing that they're not alone. It's really important. So thank you for doing that.
And I think, Lori, the caregiving documentation that you have shared through AARP and through the fantastic volunteer programs, I really do think it's just another example how all of us can stay connected with each other this holiday season and going forward.
Yeah, I think we have great things to come. I look forward for our next one. I even see more to come, and maybe even diving deeper on how we can be able to have these great conversations. So I know your time is precious. On behalf of AARP, thank you. We thank you, AARP members. As always, AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization that is truly working hard to promote the health, well-being. We are your wise friend, and I got to tell you, fierce defender. So with that, we thank you very much. Look in the comments section so you have the direct link to where to get that caregiving resource book. I will tell you it's lengthy, so just go ahead and look at it. And please, please share this Facebook link, share this YouTube post, share, educate. That's what we are. We are here for caregiving, and we are most importantly to make sure you're healthy and safe and not isolated during any time, whether holiday season or throughout the year. No, AARP stands beside you, for you, and always walking with you. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.